Welcome to Dance Mogul TV. We are live with Darrin Dewitt Henson. Darrin, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
We are so happy to be able to be here today with you at Broadway Center. It's a great opportunity that the young people have to be able to learn from you. You have so much to offer to our culture. Growing up in the Bronx, just being a dancer yourself, you were self-taught, you taught yourself how to dance. You were always a dreamer. You went from that to where you were able to work with Jennifer Lopez. You also worked with Britney Spears, NSYNC. You were one of the first to do a dance fitness DVD. I remember growing up, and when I saw that fitness DVD, I was like, wow, someone that is actually doing something with dance and taking dance to another level outside of anything else that I had seen at that time. And I was really impressed with you, and I just wanted to personally thank you and let you know how much I appreciated seeing that myself when I was coming up. So if you can you give us some insights on the man that is Darrin Dewitt Henson when you were actually starting out in the Bronx, and take us on that journey briefly?
Well, very briefly, really what it is a place of inspiration and motivation. You know, growing up literally brings its own issues and problems, right? You know, teenagers get pimples, right? Little girls grow in and they get bras later on, and they're dealing with their things. So we have all that to deal with. But at the same time, it is very similar to a radio station, right? You have 98.7 KISS, you have 107.5 WBLS, and then you have 97.1. Just because you're turned and tuned into 107.5 doesn't mean that 97.1 is not playing. It just means that you're not tuned in to that particular station, but the signal is still out there. So what I was able to do very early on was pay attention and dial into different signals. And I paid attention to one major signal, and that was responsibility, responding to my ability. Now, through imagination, creativity, and action is what helped to develop the Darrin that you know today. And imagination is the number one thing, because when you grow up and you don't have enough money to do X, Y, and Z, then your imagination is what leads you in there. And it doesn't cost anything to have an imagination. You know, you can be the greatest football player in your backyard. You could be the greatest dancer that ever lived in your living room. It is your imagination and what you will do with it. But later on, it is your position to cultivate positive relationships with people and to take individual action. And that's what makes the difference.
Is that something that you got from your parents, or how did you cultivate that wisdom to know that at such an early age? Was it you were being around adults?
I think it was purely desire. It was seeing what someone else was able to do or what they had and say, I want that too. And then basically you have to, you know, create the answer in your head, you know, by first asking the question, how do I get that? How do I do that? How do I become that? And then you create the actions that go along with it, right? So, you know, if you're laying down in bed all day long, then you're obviously not going to be able to be the best dancer, because dancers dance, right? Mathematicians count, right? Bodybuilders work out. So you must practice that in which you think about. It has to become action.
And that's why you got involved into the whole fitness, because you realized that if you wanted to be a dancer, you needed to have the stamina and you need to be physically fit in order to do your craft to the best of your ability.
Well, for me, fitness came in, to be very honest, was when I was working with a artist named Freedom Williams. I choreographed a video for him called Things That Make You Go Home. And, you know, he was the epitome of health at that time. So you saw him. Gonna Make You Sweat was a huge song. Things That Make You Go Home came after, but Freedom's body was ripped, it was developed, and he was a music artist. So while working with him, I just asked him, can I work out with you? Can I train you? I was training him for dance, but he trained me in how to take care of my body. So that's literally where that came on. And then of course watching, you know, videos with Arnold Schwarzenegger being, you know, a young teenager and imitating that, and So collectively, that came in with the health and fitness. I've always believed in taking care of the body, because the spirit can't live, right, outside the body, in the body, right? So when you look at energy, when you're in your physical form, that's where your spirit lives. We're on planet Earth, right?
Yeah.
So what you know of is me in a physical place, but my spirit is what you feel and what you hear, right? So in order to take care of my spirit, I must take care of my body as well.
Yeah.
So I want to be here as long as I possibly can. I want to do as much as I possibly can. So taking care of my body is a part of that. So when people complain about, their health and fitness, it's not that, you had diabetes in your family, or you had heart attacks in your family, or, it's just that you didn't work out in your family. And that's what it is, right? So repetition is the mother of skill. So you'll get better at something no matter what it is, even if it's doing nothing.
Wow, thanks for that. How were you able to manage to stay humble as you started to achieve some of the things that you envisioned for yourself? When you saw yourself learning how to become a better dancer, and you started to pursue your dance career, and you started to land work, because I think that's real important for a young person. When you start to see yourself getting the work, how did you manage to stay humble to where your chest, and you didn't go beyond yourself? You stayed humble. You became an author, a motivational speaker. How did you manage that?
Well, in all truth and honesty, I wasn't always humble, and I'm not always humble. I find that there are times where the ego is good to have. It gets you through difficult times. You can't be, there's so many colors of the rainbow. But if you're green all the time, you're going to be attacked. If you're yellow all the time, you're going to be attacked. Nobody's happy all the time. And you can't be red all the time. You can't be angry and dogmatic all the time. So you have to be every color of the rainbow, right? Purple, you have to be majestic. You have to move into that state of mind and that head. So it is important to be all colors of the rainbow. And I have been. And there are times where I got stuck in certain colors, and I understood how that didn't work for me. So it's about really becoming all colors of the rainbow. Another thing is, people who are well versed in education and ability don't have to be outspoken all the time, because you have the ability. You have nothing to prove to anyone. So, whereas other people talk much for their lack of ability, I don't have to do that.
Okay. And as far as work, how did staying balanced in your thinking help you to get more work to where you were able to be in the television series Soul Food? Because not anybody is just going to just work with someone that has a bad attitude. So you were able to balance those things that you just shared.
Well, Soul Food came along as a result of positive frustration. I was choreographing. It was a point in time where I choreographed a certain video. I didn't win the MTV Music Award, and I wanted it really bad. Actually, the year before I won it. And I just thought that I had choreographed so much and had done so much. I was just frustrated. So I said, I was king of the hill. I had like 6 or 7, videos on MTV, all #1 videos for big pop artists. And I needed, it was a necessity to be challenged. So I said, I want to act now, because I felt like I conquered what I needed to do with dance, or what I needed to feel in dance. It was time for me to move forward and to be challenged with something new. So I auditioned for Soul Food, and
Wow.
I booked the role, and that became a new challenge to move into the acting field.
Wow, that's amazing that you were able to do that, and that's great. So you set your mind to that, and then you were able to bring it forth.
Right. There were people who did it before me, like Gregory Hines, Baryshnikov,
Yes.
John Travolta. I mean, so many people who were dancers, choreographers, turned actors. So I had the information in front of me, so I just followed the same patterns.
And you didn't stop there. You decided to be an author.
Yes.
And how did that come about?
Well, being an author, I was inspired by a gentleman that I work with named Dr. Maurice A. Lee, who kept telling me, stop being selfish. And I said, what are you talking about? He goes, well, you can't be everywhere at one time, but a book can. And I had been writing for many years, but I used to write and just put the pieces of papers away. So the actual book that I have, Intimate Thoughts in the Spirit of Change, is a collection of my writing that I did over many years and reformatted and put into a book. And really what that was a way to inspire other people to come as they are, but don't stay as they are. Everything should evolve. Change is happening whether we like it or not. And this is an opportunity for people to look at themselves and other people and to learn that it's okay to move forward. It is okay to grow. It is okay to listen. It is okay to go through pain. It is okay to develop a conscience. It is okay to go through difficult times, because if you're not feeling some form of pain or difficulty, you're probably not growing.
Wow. And so that was all a part of the motivation of why you decided to write the book, and you're hoping that those that read the book, go out and purchase the book from your website, will be able to walk away and take that away with them.
Absolutely. My book, Intimate Thoughts in the Spirit of Change, is on my website. Whenever you order off of DarrinHenson.com, you will get a signed, autographed copy of that. And really, it is a way to inspire people to move forward with their lives and utilize what they have now. Most people pray a prayer of getting more, but they don't ask to be able to understand and understand how to use what they already have now. Most people have everything they need to be successful. They just don't use it.
Wow. And that's going to lead me right into our next question. As you continue to look into yourself, when did you find the desire to want to be able to help young people and become a motivational speaker? I tell you, I follow you closely to where I see all of the different things that you're doing, and I saw you speaking in front of an audience and you were saying some encouraging things. Tell us about that.
Again, it is just something I do. It is innate inside of me. It is part of my responsibility, responding to my ability, and it's something that I feel that is almost effortless in me doing. And if it can help people, if it can engage people to start thinking and then acting upon what they're thinking, then that's everything. Because thought without actions are just thoughts, and they won't help you. So you must apply yourself through action once you have the ideas. Once you have an idea about what you want to do, where you want to go, what you want to be, you must act upon that. You cannot be docile, you cannot be lazy, you cannot procrastinate. That is death. And when you're comfortable, that is the cousin to failure. I don't look to be comfortable in life. Being uncomfortable is a great place for me.
Do you remember that station and that state of mind of when you were coming up and how you were so hungry to want to be successful? And when you're inspiring the young people, do you realize that you are now in a position to be able to help somebody from that, to ease that state of mind through the knowledge and information that you're able to share? You are aware of that you're able to do that, be that source for them, that maybe somebody wasn't for you, and so that keeps you in that cycle of wanting to give to them?
Absolutely. I mean, I try to stay conscious and awake and aware. I say it is better to be aware than to be afraid. It is better to know than to believe. You see, people's belief systems change all the time, but when you know something, then you have strength and you move forward because you have conviction, you see? So when it comes to people listening, when it comes to, people acting upon something, they say the student, the student appears when they're ready. The teacher may be there, but when the teacher teaches, nothing happens unless the student is ready, right? So when you have those two, you can utilize your individual power. We say unleash the giant within. So I believe, I know that you have everything that you have. We all do, to be successful. We already have it in us. If you woke up this morning, you have everything inside of you. Your position is to cultivate positive working relationships. Your position is to master what it is that you want to be a part of. And your position is to become what you want to be. I'm going to say that again. Your position is to become what you want to be. You see? So if you want to be successful, speak successfully, with education, with proper grammar, write properly. Speak to people with respect, have camaraderie, and also look to, again, be uncomfortable in things, because being uncomfortable means you're growing and you're being challenged.
Wow, that's great. Thank you so much. That leads me right into my next question as far as challenge. You're talking about challenges and you're inspiring young people, but you're also challenging yourself, so much so that you decided to be a director and produce movies yourself. What did you find inside yourself that made you want to do that?
Well, I don't believe that I'm a victim, number one. And as I said, we have the ability to do whatever we want to do. We just have to utilize our resources and our relationships and do them. So whereas people complain all the time about, well, they won't let me do this or they won't let me have that, those are people who pretend to be victims. I just utilize my resources and my relationships and get things done. In other words, if I want to write, produce, and direct a film, I must write, then produce, and then direct the film. And you just get it done. You have to know what you want, when you want it, and how you want it, and just get it done. And you must, if you don't yet have that, then you go to the people who have done it, and you become useful to them. You see, we must give something in order to get something. It's called reciprocation, right? So in order to have a mentor, you must be willing to listen and work with your mentor. You must be willing to listen to your mentor. So I look at that as using my ability to become useful to someone else. In turn, I learn from them, and then it becomes effective in my life and the life of other people. Your business or your brand grows when you become useful to someone else.
Yes, and this is so true. Tell me about your latest project as far as Hotel and what we could come to expect and where you are with that.
I directed a film called The Hotel, which is a 30-minute short film which is premiering in festivals all over America. Right now we've raised a great deal of money to do the full-length feature. So that will be happening next year. I also produced another film called Four of Hearts, which will be out later on this year. It's in the festivals now. And then I executive produced a film called The Frat Brothers, which is a fraternity dance film. All of it you can go to imdb.com and see. Look at the actors in the films and look at the credits. And there's a whole lot happening right now. There's a film that I have coming out that's premiering at the ABFF called In the Meantime next week. So there's a whole lot. I've been having a whole lot of fun, and business has just been getting better and more positive relationships, and I'm just growing.
Wow.
So get that intimate thoughts in the spirit of change, everybody.
And they sure will. And that's great. And I heard you, I saw the premiere of
And
Hotel.
thank you for giving me the cover of your magazine.
Not
Thank
a problem.
You.
You sure enough will get that.
Thank you.
But before we close the interview, I wanted to ask you, because I saw a familiar face
Yes.
in the movie.
Yes.
I saw Shabba Doo.
Yes.
Can you just give our audience some brief information about your relationship and how did you get to know him and work with him?
When I was 21 years of age, I met Shabba Doo on the Donahue Show, and we talked and we walked together, and we became friends. A couple of months later, he said that there was a play coming to Broadway. He wanted to introduce me to the director, Ron Link, of that play, and he thought I would be perfect for the role of Carlos Cruz. He kept his word, introduced me to the director. I read for the role, and at 21 years old, I was on Broadway in a Broadway show called Stand Up Tragedy, and that was due to Shabba Doo. And me paying homage to him and thanking him was by me putting him in the movie and giving him his props.
Wow, that's great. Before we wrap up, is there any words of encouragement that you would like to offer to the youth in addition to everything else that you've already said?
Yes. Your history is not yet fully written. Go back and study those that came before you. Learn as many different dance styles as you can and remove fear, and you will be able to thrive in today's marketplace. Educate yourself and ask as many questions as you possibly can. And you heard it here from Darrin Dewitt Henson.
Anyone you'd like to thank?
I just want to thank everybody that has ever been involved in my career, inspired me, and all of those people who have supported my movies, television shows, DVDs, and books. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you and love you.
Thank you so much.